to the RunnerX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running. Welcome back to Tough Love Tuesdays and the RunnerX podcast. I want to talk about this fantastic quote I saw that really just made me think of Tough Love Tuesdays. It was a guy, and he's got on a running shirt, and he's holding up this sign that says, "Don't worry about my pace. Worry about why you worry about my pace." And I was like, exactly. Why are you comparing yourself to another runner? It's their race that they're running. They're not running the race for you. You run your race. You worry about your pace. You worry about how you're going to finish. That's like the whole point of the hare and the turtle, right? That old Aesop's fable about just focus on what you're doing. You keep your head straight forward. Don't worry about the competition. Don't worry about your friends. Don't worry about that person in front of you. Focus on your race and how you're feeling, and stay connected with what you're doing. Because if you start worrying about other people's paces or that person's ahead of me, they're going to start to pull you to go faster than you're ready for. That's how we get into trouble sometimes when we're in a race situation and we start going out a little bit too fast. It's because we think we have to catch up with that person or be part of that group. And then sometimes there's no gas in the engine at the end of the race. Start your race within your mind and within what you're doing. Okay. And how do you do that? What you got to do is you got to listen to your thoughts and be connected to your body as it's moving through space. Okay. I want to make sure my center of mass is actually falling as a unit with my ankles, hips, shoulder, ears all in line, right? I want to make sure that I'm pulling and using muscle elasticity with my hamstrings. I don't want to be feeling anything in my quads, right? I want to make sure that my shoulders and my arms are loose, that my ankles are loose, and that I'm not worrying about things like landing or foot strike. I'm letting gravity just place my foot back down, right? I want to concentrate on that fall point. Maybe there's a person up there that I can fall towards, but I'm not worried about keeping up with them. I'm worried about setting that point on the horizon, falling into it, and then playing with my body in space. Now, if you've been trying to fall with us, if you've been looking at the fall and trying to fall as a unit, there may be times when you're like, oh my God, I just can't keep up. Well, that probably means that you're falling too far. Valerie and I have this visual representation that I haven't been able to actually put together yet, but it's a great thought. If you think of your head as 12 o'clock, right? And if from the side, I drew like a circle, okay, like a clock, but we're going to take it as a pie. And, let's say it's the holidays, or maybe it's your birthday or whatever. And you look at that pie, a lot of times, like my husband will cut it down the middle. So it'll go like 12 to 6. And then he'll cut it across at 3 and 9. And he'll be like, okay, that quarter's mine. How much do you want? And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have a full quarter. So I might just take like from 12 to 1. So I want a sliver of pie, right? That's all you have to fall. You don't even have to fall to 1. You could fall to the 2-minute mark, right? You just want to fall a tiny bit. You do not want your face in the pie, right? You do not want to be leaning forward so your face is at the 3 o'clock. You do not want to fall so far forward that you basically are getting clumsy or that you are leaning. So just fall a little bit. Just how does that feel to just fall a tiny bit and be a little bit off balance enough to unweigh your body, right? And then start pulling your feet. Let it come, let the pulling start, and try to pull that other foot before the first one lands. How do you do that? I also like to think of things like I'm going across lava, right? So it's like really hot. So I need to move in quick, small movements to get across where I'm going. These are just all the mental tricks that I use when I'm going out to run. I try to think, put my arms up over my head. You've seen Valerie do that in some of her drills. Get my chest up so I'm breathing. I make sure I'm not looking down at my feet. I make sure that I'm looking forward, and I just fall and I enjoy myself. That's what I mean by worry about your pace, not that other person's pace, right? Stop worrying about what other people are doing, what they're wearing, what's the gear that they have on. Worry about you and what you're doing, because at the end of the day, this is your run. No one can put the shoes on and run it for you. Okay. So really own that. Own that it's your run, good or bad. There is no, it doesn't matter. If it's a bad run, there'll be a good run tomorrow. If it's a good one, fantastic. You can do another one the next day. It's all about your perception and the mental openness to being coachable and really just playing with yourself and getting back into who you are as a runner and how you move through space. Try to not zone out with a podcast or music or listening to your friend talk about work. Maybe just say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and run this loop and I'll meet you back here and then we'll go for coffee. And I want to hear all about your boyfriend or your boss or whatever the case may be. But let it be your run. Don't let that person slow you down, pull you forward, or take you out of what should be your practice, because this is your time during the day. This is your time during the race. Let's focus on that and stop worrying about all the other things around you. Okay, guys? Now, if you join me next week, I'm going to be talking about what we're going to be working on for in July for the new RunRx course program that we're doing. Okay, guys? We will talk to you soon. Thank you for joining us on the RunRx podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.